Some of us have cats and some of us have dogs, and some of us have cats and dogs. And so today on our cat chat, we're including our canine cousins as we talk about arthritis. Oh no! Okay, so we're talking arthritis today, and many clients tell me that their dog or their cat, they don't have arthritis, they don't cry, they don't limp, they still jump. One thing we know about cats is about 75 to 90% of cats by the time they're 12 will have arthritis, but we can also see arthritis in cats as young as 3. And check out this cat. So watch her jump again. She should easily make that jump, but she's pulling herself up with her front end. That cat's 3 years old, has hip dysplasia, and has arthritis. Okay, so let's watch Winston. So do you think he has arthritis? Of course he has arthritis. This is an arthritis video. But with his gait, it's a little goofy, but that's because he has a neurological disease. But he doesn't really limp, and he definitely doesn't cry. But let's check out his x-rays. Oh, those look like really painful hips. Right here, those, whoops. Right there. And this guy's not really in the joint very well. Do you see how the ball of his hips, they're really big, they're really thickened. He also doesn't have a femoral neck. Compare it to this young dog's hip, who has a normal femoral head in the circle, and where the arrow is a normal femoral neck. Of course, dogs and cats with arthritis may be lame. But this is more common as the disease progresses. As arthritis progresses, we can start to see the clinical signs more frequently because they're not using their muscles as much because they hurt. You'll start to see things like muscle wasting. These are the signs we're going to see as the disease is more progressive. We can also see them hiding, vocalization, becoming irritable. A sore cat or a sore dog, they don't want to be petted. They don't want to be brushed. So early on, we're not going to see the clinical signs every day, just like people. Cats and dogs will have good days and bad days, just like people have good days and bad days. But how do we tell in the earlier stages that they may have arthritis so that we can help them before they get to these very painful stages of arthritis? Well, you got to be a pet detective and you got to look for subtle changes. You're looking for changes in their behaviors because our cats and dogs, well, they change their behavior and they adapt to hide their problems. Number 1 will be a subtle change in their playing. They may not go for as long walks. They may not play with their favorite toys. They may not chase their ball. They may not play with their catnip toy anymore. Now, often we chalk this up to them just getting old, but age is not a disease. With age, problems come, and that's where we need to be watching for these signs. Number 2, look for a change in sleeping patterns. So you may see restlessness, you may see that they're no longer sleeping in their same locations. My Brandon, he used to love to sleep behind the TV. But that jump is way up there if you're a little cat. And now his favorite place to sleep is in a cardboard box on the floor. But what about 2 cats who used to sleep on top of each other but now sleep beside each other? My old Brutus, he used to sleep on those round Costco dog beds. But those beds, when his arthritis got bad, he couldn't get onto those beds. He needed a bigger bed, a square bed, so he didn't have to curl up on the bed. Or what about the dogs who now sleep in? Yeah, for sure, they may have arthritis. These are all signs that they could be uncomfortable. So who would have guessed that a change in grooming could actually be a sign of arthritis. This may be really subtle. I mean, our cats groom all the time, and we're not really aware if they're grooming 23 hours or 22 hours a day. But that subtle change in grooming, you might see things like scales in their fur, might start to get mats, you might notice more loose hair than used to be there. Our dogs, they might start to lick sore joints that are hurting them. They might start to not like being brushed anymore. Also, on that same topic of grooming, long nails. Our dogs aren't walking as much and they have longer nails. Our cats, when they're walking, you can hear the click of their nails hitting the ground because they're not stretching up and grooming those nails. And so nails growing into the pads would be another sign that we might have some arthritis. So another thing that you're going to watch for, of course, is a change in movement. Our joints are there for moving. So if they're hurting, we're going to see a change in movement. So our cats, are they hesitant to jump up? Now watch this cat. Okay. See how this cat is hesitant to get on the table? And remember, arthritis is progressive. They're not going to have these signs every single day. We may see a decrease in jump height. And where that is they might find an intermediate to jump up. So rather than jumping from the floor to the counter, perhaps they're going to hit a chair before the counter. Now they may not do this every time, but if you're starting to notice them favor that, that's going to be a sign. Jumping down, if they got sore front legs, you might notice them sliding as close to the floor as possible before jumping down. Once again, it's a progressive disease. You might not see it every jump. Our dogs, same thing, jumping in and out of the truck, in and out of the car. You might start to see them having more difficulty. Another change in gait you might notice is a bunny hop. Watch this cat bunny hopping up the stairs. Watch Millie here with her bunny hop. That can be a sign that she may have some problems in her back end. Another thing to watch for, if they're choosing to lead with the same leg all the time. Watch this cat going up the stairs. See how it's always the same leg? We can see that in both dogs and cats if they're hurting. Often we can see, particularly in dogs, that stiffness getting up. We can see them slower. They may go from lying to sitting very quickly, but when they go from sitting to standing, it's just that little bit slower. And they have the first maybe 2, 3, 4 steps are stiff until they kind of warm up. Particularly after they've rested for a while, we may see that stiffness. Another common problem in our cats with arthritis, because it hurts, is urinating outside the litter box. And there's a number of reasons they may do this. 1, if they have to go up or down the stairs to get to the litter box. 2, if the lip to get into the box is a little too high. Or my own Madison, when I had her, she would get into the box, but she could no longer position herself so that the urine would go down into the litter. Rather, it flowed over the box and onto the floor. How are we going to diagnose arthritis? Well, number 1, we're going to go a lot on your history. Your pets are moving at home and you're going to notice the subtle behavior changes. Number 2, we can do a physical exam and we can look for signs of discomfort. We can look for decreased range of motion in joints. And then number 3, of course, there's x-rays. A little bit of arthritis right there. And we can see from Winston's x-rays, he's got terrible hips. But I knew that was coming because as a puppy, I took his x-rays and he has hip dysplasia. We can do pen hips in our younger dogs. A pen hip is a technique to help diagnose young dogs whether they have hip dysplasia. It is helpful because if we know they have hip dysplasia, we know that arthritis is in their future and we can help slow the progression of arthritis. Okay, so here's another cat that we've taken x-rays, and this cat's getting cartridge for her arthritis, and we can see she's overweight, a lot of fat underneath her liver, and if we look right up here, we're going to see some arthritis there, and so she definitely has an ouchie back. If you look at her elbows, we can see lots of signs of arthritis. Right here, the little spikes that you can see, significant changes to her elbow there. She definitely has painful elbows. So remember, number 1, arthritis is progressive. Cats and dogs are going to have good days and bad days, but we want to catch that pain early. We don't want to wait until they're really sore to give them some pain relief. So number 2, you need to watch for changes in behavior. A really good thing to do is videotape your pet moving. Videotape them going up and down the stairs. Videotape them jumping. Bring it into the hospital, or compare your own video. 6 months later, a year later, are you starting to notice a difference? Okay, so those are a few subtle signs to help you determine whether your pet might be starting to suffer from arthritis. But if you would like more species-specific signs, check the show notes below for dogs and cats. I have a list for each species. I'm Dr. Shelley Horvat, and I hope this helps.